Thank you very much for coming back after the last break. We have now a very huge panel, so we don't have time for a lot of questions. Nevertheless, I would like to take the opportunity, as Lorena said, to spark collaboration. Sometimes there needs to be friction, yeah? So let's see whether we will have friction in questions and how they are answered between the organizations and the regions that is leading to a very positive result, or if we will burn down the house. So let's see. Hopefully we will go in the first direction. So I've brought two very open questions with me, which should a little bit also inspire us to discuss about how we can work together in the future. And we will take turns from the answers from this side to that side. If there's anything relevant to hook up, I will basically follow up. And the first question would be, now SDV is perceived by some persons as a hype, as a big buzzword. So my first question is, what do you think will remain when the hype cycle of the SDV is over, when the buzzword is set into technical solutions? Fabian, go ahead.
Okay, what will be left? It's a really hard one to start with. I think the problem will still be there, right? So, and we will see solutions that have worked, and we will see things that were only paperwork will probably not have worked. Because so if you implement something in a car, then it obviously did work, and then all of that had a good reason. Because saying that, I mean, in the past, in maps business, during when automated driving came on, it wasn't like, just to tell a quick story, because we've been there, done that kind of, and we had the idea, HD maps and function safety, how does that all work together? And we're not really, so in 2015, that was like the hype back then, like automated driving, HD map and stuff. We reached out to a couple of other organizations. We had something like an umbrella organization, what we called the Open Auto Drive Forum. We had a lot of meetings, talked about things, and when the hype was over, this kind of organization is still there, but it kind of lost traction, right? The problems have been solved, not in silos, but also not on a complete stage as we would want it to be. So you have to, when the hype is over, there is still the unsolved problems. But I guess people have, in the meantime, then talked to each other a lot about it, and the mindset will have grown, right? And everyone will know a lot of things about the others which they haven't known before when they were like working in their silos.
Thank you. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, from the North America region perspective, I think we can guarantee that once the hype cycle is over with SDV, there will be another hype cycle started, whatever that is. And so it'll give us something more to talk about. But what will be left of the SDV, I think, will be a lot of hard work still to be done. And that hard work will, in my mind, as I talk to stakeholders in North America, will require innovation and speed and low cost. And so these are all the things that have driven the automotive community for years. Nothing new there, but I think that the approach is going to have to be new. It's going to have to be different, not just between OEMs and Tier 1s, but between organizations like AUTOSAR, Provisa, Eclipse, Sophie, etc., Jaspar, other organizations. There needs to be a new mindset of alignment and collaboration, which we've talked a lot about today. So I think speed, I think innovation, I think alignment, and faster market is what has to happen next.
Thank you. Switching to the China perspective.
Yeah, thank you. My understanding is with the SDV hype, there are really many new needs and also challenges at the same time. And there are not existing mature solutions to solve all the problems. So what we are seeing today is different companies, different organizations are trying to find their own ways in their own methods. And after the hype, after the hard work from everybody and hopefully together, I would see that we will have less solutions but mature solutions available that everybody can rely on, and this saves cost, saves energy for everyone from the industry. Thank you.
Thank you. And Peter, what do you think?
Well, I believe the SDV is a promise the automotive industry gives the customer, and if I switch into the customer seat, I would believe that I will buy this car which lives up to the promise. So this OEM who can really deliver software updates, who can fix the problems I see in a car within a very short time, who can deliver new applications which become active even years after I bought the car, this is the car I will buy. So that's a promise we will need to fulfill as an industry.
Saki-san, what do you think?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm never thinking about this because we are first luck to develop the SDV. But I think mutual standard function is great, and it begins to competition to cutting edge function. Thank you.
Munakata-san, what's the Kobisu perspective?
So the Kobisu perspective, that means the data exchange between the cloud and vehicles. So this is not the hype; it's already the reality. Because already, especially for the fleet space, many business transactions are already happening. But at the same time, we have many chances to improve, especially for the interoperability. Because currently there are some dedicated service using some specific API and specific data set. So the Kobisu goal is to standardize a common API set to expand the data collection. So that is my feeling for the SDV.
Thank you very much. Robert?
So I think what we'll see is a lot of new relationships built through this process. We're already seeing it in the SOFI world that people are just getting together and collaborating because they realise they can't do it all themselves. And so I think the other thing is people will figure out where they fit. What does my company look like in a SDV world? And what's my expertise? What's my business model? So there's going to be a lot of changes in both relationships and collaborations, but also in the way that companies do business. I don't know what it looks like right now. We're seeing interesting stuff going on, but where it led, I don't know. But it'll be really interesting to see the collaborations.
Michael?
Yeah, we were
From Michael to Michael from your training.
So I have 2 points. I think where Robert was more focusing on the internal side. I think software is here to stay. So the perceived value of a car will be more and more defined by software features. So this will not change, and company and ecosystem needs to adapt to this. The second point is the pressure by new market entrants will also not go away. So I think we see an industry which finds within 30 years of software legacy against companies who can start their software architecture on a greenfield. This gives you a big advantage. So this needs to be addressed. This needs to be addressed by collaborating with the non-differentiating stack. So even with the buzzword, the high SDV is over, these two changing trends, software-defined car, and the pressure from more and more market entrants coming, sometimes even from different industries, these will for sure be.
Okay, thank you very much. Then, transitioning to the next topic. So SDV is something that is perceived sometimes differently by different regions, but also by different organizations. So I would be interested in the next question that you consider this specifics for your regions or your organization in 2 dimensions. So first dimension, what's the biggest challenge for your organization or region for the software-defined vehicle, and what's your biggest asset maybe in this direction from your point of view as an organization or a region? Both aspects would be interesting. So to mix it up a bit, let's start on the right-hand side. So, Michael?
For me, the answer to both questions is open source. Because I think we have a lot of discussion around what is my business case in the future, who will deal with open source and other things. So that's a real threat for a lot of companies, and that's all threatened through the initiative. Because we do not get support by the ecosystem, we will not reach the goals we want to reach. At the same time, open source, right? Because an open, unrestricted collaboration where everyone works together, I think we can really address the 2 challenges I mentioned in my previous answer. That means focusing on the differentiating model, software stakeholder resources, have a cost-sharing approach for the non-differential part of the software stack, which really would enable a much better collaboration.
Yeah, from a SOFI perspective versus a regional perspective, I kind of really see that the industry is really starting to come together, and I think that as we move forward, we'll see that the challenges that kind of come from the OEMs and the people building their cars, they will get basically solved by the industry. Whether that's open source in the case of Eclipse SDV, whether that's open standards, I don't know, but I think the industry is going to kind of come together to really sort a lot of this stuff out through the collaborations we've got.
Good, thank you very much.
So I'm not talking about the regional, the organizational things, but the biggest challenge for the SDV is, the vehicle is solid, secure, safe stuff, and the people want to validate it quite seriously. That is the nature of the automotives. So that's free understanding. But at the same time, if you see the smartphone, many people just really download the different applications. And sometimes there are no system level whole validation what happens because each smartphone includes a different set of the application in place. So if you realize the SDV concept, that must have some software partial applicability. So that's completely contaminated with the automotive nature mindset. Because you don't want to add randomly the software, because some parts still must be very solid. But at the same time, you need to give some freedom to the customer to add some stuff on demand. So this kind of change, the mixture of the mindset is the biggest challenge. Because most of the people sitting here is automotive minded, very safe aware. So that you need to think about how you can allow some flexibility, dynamic management mechanism. So we need to educate the people to how to mix up the right way. So this is a technically big challenge for me to realize SDV. Yes.
So this
one. Data collection and analysis and OTA is unchanged. But people demand differ region by region to region. In short, the fit software is deployed fast, is different. But long term, I think same situation. Yeah, it will. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, from the opportunities, well, I studied software engineering when the 8-bit CPUs were the common use, and I'm just blown away what kind of technologies we have now in the car, right? So for what kind of hardware we have, what kind of software availabilities we have, so I'm absolutely I'm enthusiastic about all these things which we have now at our hand, and we can really build great new things. And this is also the challenge. As we have heard in the keynote today in the morning, I think it was, I really very much liked it, the problems don't go away. They are pretty much the same problems we had, I think, 50 years ago or so. So we really should not only focus on the software which runs in the vehicle and around, so we really also need to address the tools, the tool chains, and the things how we're going to make the software. So this is, I believe, the big challenge which we definitely need to address.
I'd like to talk about my understanding from China market. I'm optimistic in general that China can have a good development in the SDV era because there's a good supply of talents in software and especially from the IT-like software development. And also Chinese consumers are also enthusiastic about new features, which gives a lot of chances to companies who can develop new features. And this is also one reason I really like to get more Chinese people on board to AUTOSAR and to strengthen this global standard that everybody can benefit globally.
Steve, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess from the North America perspective, I agree it's similar to China that if we do SDV correctly, the greatest opportunity is being able to delight the vehicle occupants like we've never been able to before. That's through delivery of new and innovative applications that are easily updatable and easily used. And I just think, what OEM doesn't want to delight their customer, right? Everybody wants happy drivers and happy vehicle occupants. So that's the opportunity in my mind. Now, getting there is a little bit of a different challenge because each OEM is going to want to do that slightly differently because they own the customer, right? And they want to delight their customer. But I think the only way they're going to get there is by working together, even with their competitors and with their supply chain and with a whole new group of app developers that are using common interfaces to do new things in the vehicle. And so it's going to take a little bit of a shift, I think. And I'm hearing this from the North America OEMs that they can no longer control the ecosystem like they have in the past. They have to let go and let innovation happen. And from no-name companies that are well-funded and creating new, innovative ideas coming into the vehicle, they need to let that control, give them the ability to do that and not control them. And if that happens, then I think they will delight their customers.
Yeah, you asked in the beginning, what can we bring to the show? Basically, what we can do is, I mean, for map data and infotainment system where we come from, we've always been on software only, right? And we had over-the-air updates, like, that's check. We have that. So what we can bring is experience, and maybe on a way smaller scale than for the vehicle. But we as an organization can bring some experience to the table also of what it means to have an open source project and have that integrated into a functional, safe system that is actually on the road right now. And I can tell you, that is quite a feat. That is not something you do very easily because putting something on GitHub is a different story than really bringing this onto the street. And what we will do, we'll be happy to contribute in that way, and looking forward to collaborating here with all of you, and basically what we can bring to the show.
So thank you very much. So we have talked today a lot about collaboration, right? It's also third party day of the AUTOSAR conference with technical sessions also. So what would be interesting, all of you are standing for a certain organization, for a certain region. So if you go home now, right, and you say, okay, I was visiting the AUTOSAR conference in Tokyo, so my main takeaway with respect to the software-defined vehicle and collaboration is we should do, and now it will be interesting, what you think about, what will you take with you for your organization when it comes to collaboration in the context of software-defined vehicle. So we start with Fabian again.
So what I already did, I already texted guys and said, you know what, I've seen this alliance and you should be part of it. It reminded me a little bit of that what we've already done, and maybe this one we also should be part of it. So that's my main takeaway today is the NDS organization should be part of that SDV alliance.
Steve, what will you do with the context you have in the American market? Analysts, we have discussed two conferences you are organizing. What's your thought?
That's a great question. I think that we need to rethink how we're doing user groups and how we're interacting with the AUTOSAR partners in North America, and not so much. I guess what I would say is break out of the box a little bit. Think a little bit more creatively, not try to just keep telling the same story of AUTOSAR as is, but what AUTOSAR could be in the future, and embrace ideas and perspectives from our audience in North America to make that future happen.
Thank you. Thank you. What will you take with you to China?
Actually, I'm very very much amazed of how many people came to the AOC this time. I heard it's the most, or the highest number in history. This has left me a very strong impression that Japanese companies are very interested in this topic, software and software-defined vehicle and AUTOSAR. And I see great potential from the Japanese colleagues as well. There are almost the same number of Japanese partners as Chinese partners. And I think we both face a challenge to change from the deeply embedded automotive software to the new type of software and consider how to develop new features for cars. And I do see this as a good impression that Japan has very good potential.
So Peter, with the federal projects, you will also be asked, I would assume, what will be your main takeaway for collaboration software-defined vehicles for you guys?
So how to embrace collaboration, this is actually the question which I ask myself every day, at least every business day, working on Federate, because that's exactly what we would like to support and what we would like to empower. I believe some of the, well, we have talked about a lot of things, a lot of approaches, and all of that helps, and communication, of course, is very, very important. There's one thing which I've also learned, and this is also to allow, at least at some point, to a part of diversity. So there's not just one truth out there. There are sometimes different ways to achieve a similar goal or a same goal. The important thing is that we have a common vision. And this is something to follow, and then there might be some parts in parallel, and then it's important to join forces again. I believe that's a pattern to go.
Isaac-san, what about the JASPA organization? What will you tell your colleagues in the JASPA steering?
Yeah, we are discussing each other to develop the same platform, because platform software is very important to achieve something carbon neutral or zero fatality accident. We are thinking together to develop it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Munakata-san, what will you tell your professor colleagues?
Because I'm sitting here representing Professor, but at the same time I'm going to come with the NESAS, and the NESAS is SOFI members, JASPA members, AUTOSAR members. So happening here is because formerly the different guy is attending different meetings in Paris, but now we start communicating each other inside the company and learn that we are using that some technical was slightly different manner. So we maybe this is a Professor context that may be a common name set, but initially maybe not many people sitting here is joining multiple activities. So we don't want to maybe compete each other. So we want to find a collaborative way, and hopefully we can work together to achieve the same goals. So we start such kind of coordination inside companies first, and then we can penetrate with all the same people sitting here. So that's my hope.
Good, thank you very much. And Robert, what do you will tell your SOFI colleagues about that?
So I actually learned quite a lot today about AUTOSAR, where you are with AUTOSAR Adaptive. What I think I'd like to take back is I want to make it real. So we're good at slideware, but in the world of SOFI, we like to have stuff that's real too. And so I'm going to see if I can figure out how we can basically have the AUTOSAR Adaptive, basically the diagram I showed. How can we make that real and take that back to the SOFI community and see who wants to get involved?
And last but not least, Michael, what will you take with you to the Eclipse steering and Eclipse SDV groups?
So 2 points, one very pragmatical one. The idea of local hubs, a great idea. I think I don't believe in global communities because it's the time on the organization side, time zone differences, but all the mindset by having strong local hubs with strong bridges between the hubs is the way to go. The second one is, which makes me a little bit sad, is the huge willingness of collaboration and the challenges we face by legal stuff, like IP things and others. That's where I say, sometimes it's this, we set this up, right? It's something which is man-made, and it hinders us to be much more efficient in collaboration. We just can, from our side, say we need to continue to pursue and to find ways to overcome this kind of weird issues for collaboration.
So there is no panel on without discussing at least one topic about legal. So thank you very much for your feedback. So I think we are in the direction of closing for today. So I would like to thank the panelists. A big round of applause for their participation.